Also, saw the new Naked Gun, took my mom to the movies. Better than the original.
Wow.
Write to us, hosts@shatpod.com. Tell me I'm wrong.
Remember when we first met John McClane? Argyle picked him up from the plane and took him down the Nakatomi Tower at the Christmas party. And the terrorists were overzealous, but it was sweet when they killed Ellis. And with a little help from Alan, John McClane kicked ass.
Welcome back to Shat the Movies, the podcast where we answer the question, were the movies we loved when we were growing up really that good? Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why don't they make movies like they used to? Can you still remember spending your Friday night searching for the perfect movie rental at Blockbuster Video? Do you know what Blockbuster Video is? If you answered yes, then this is the podcast for you. I am one of your hosts, Gene Lyons, and alongside me is my co-host, Big D, Dick Ebert.
Fuego!
And each week, we take a look back in time and decide if our favorite films still hold up. The movies we cover are chosen by you, the listeners, who generously commission the films you love. If you like to see all the movies we have covered, we'll cover one, and choose one for yourself. Please visit shatpod.com and have a look. At the end of each podcast, we'll provide you, the audience, with the number of wipes each movie take to get off your respective butts. So thank you so much for listening. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and share with a friend. It's how we help the podcast grow. Additionally, subscribe to our sister podcast, Shat on TV, where we review TV series such as Westworld, Taboo, American Gods, Game of Thrones, True Detective, Lovecraft Country, and Watchmen. Find all the information and past episodes at shatpod.com/TV. And finally, if you'd like to hang out with us live, follow and subscribe to our Twitch channel, shatpod.com/Twitch, and our YouTube channel, where we play video games, host watch parties, and edit this podcast live. And for those of you getting Battlefield 6, yes, of course, I'll be playing that. And for those of you who have Battlefield 1, I'm there warming up right now. So right after this recording, in fact, be jumping on the Battlefield 1 with a couple different shatters. So if you haven't joined our Discord, do that. You can go to shatpod.com and join the Discord. We will be playing a lot of video games this summer, so get on it. All that being said, Big D, what movie are you reviewing tonight?
So, Gene, before we get to the movie, I'm going to do something I know you absolutely love. You love when I spring new ideas on you.
Of course.
So a lot of times when we do these movies now that are becoming more obscure, our listeners and audiences, now we're getting geriatric. We're getting to where we get our AARP cards. The young listeners are carrying us too, but the older ones the flock is shrinking a little bit. So I've thought, for the people who have not seen these movies, I'm going to come up with a simple mathematical equation that could tell people each week what the film is, and they can decide, hey, would I want to see this? Okay. So today is Die Hard plus The Breakfast Club times Red Dawn plus Dead Poet Society setting, or Dead Poet Society minus the poetry plus G.I. Joe minus adults times Stand By Me plus grenades. That gets us this week's film.
I don't disagree, Big D, but shouldn't you be using more modern reference points for our young audience?
I could try that. That's a good idea.
I don't think any of them have seen Dead Poets Society.
It's a good point. See, this is why I run it by you, because you found the flaw in my equation. So what I'll do is I will come up with modern references.
As a 45-year-old man, I found that very enjoyable. The old references, I was like, yes, this makes sense perfectly.
Thank you.
And Wil Wheaton was in all those movies.
He was. I should have maybe thrown in a Star Trek reference about Wesley Crusher, but yeah, I will try that. I'll come up with a more timely, current version. I might even throw a Gen X version for you, Gene, but we'll see. But this week on Shat the Movies, we're heading back to prep school. Only this time, Gene, we're not going into the showers. We don't care about grades or girls or getting into Harvard. Nope, it's about Colombian terrorists with garage door openers strapped to their arms, a bunch of rich kids who watch Die Hard too many times, and they're going to channel their inner John McClane and take back their school. Government forces, they're useless. The faculty is helpless. So we're going to crack open a soda, some green mouthwash with vodka, as we fire up the 1991 Toy Soldiers commissioned for our heroic Eric the Brave.
And brave Sir Eric wrote in and said, hello, Shat crew. Thank you for reviewing my commission of Toy Soldiers. I don't have a lot to say about this movie for a change of pace. I saw it with my dad when it came out in theaters, and I thought it was a cool movie. Best movie ever? Nah, but it was different enough to stand out to me. The way the main student characters interacted with each other felt more natural and realistic. Unlike the banter in Clerks, as Big D often points out, the premise was believable too, and the bad guys were not way over the top, which kind of made it more suspenseful. In fact, it seemed like the bad guys used some good strategies, but their plans still had hiccups and failures. The only really stupid thing, in my opinion, was the whole switching of the chips thing. But hey, it's a movie and I can suspend some disbelief. I'm still surprised that this movie is not more highly regarded, especially with the cast, including Sean Astin, Wil Wheaton, Arlie Ermey, and Louis Gossett Jr. I find that not many people saw this, and when I tried to tell people about it, they thought it was the movie Small Soldiers about the military chips being placed into action figures. Totally different film. To prepare for this commission, I watched it with my 8-year-old son. He totally dug it. I was 12 when this came out, and I think he enjoyed it as much as I did. He does have the attention span of a gnat and doesn't stop talking during movies, though, which makes the movie watching difficult at times. For example, when the FBI guy showed up on screen and basically exposition dumped by saying he is the FBI, my son proudly exclaimed, "That's the president. A future Roger, maybe?" Gave me heat flashbacks, but still made me laugh and is a great memory. My score is about 1.5 wipes. It was fun, different, well made, moves at a good pace, changes up some, and is stylized without being too stuck in a decade. Definitely worth a watch. Hell, it is worth it for the gunship scenes at the end. One of my all-time favorite film scenes of an attack helicopter. Well, have to go make a call to a phone sex line. Have a great day. Brave Sir Eric. P.S. I think this would have been about a 10-minute long movie if Jubei from Ninja Scroll had been in that school to protect those kids. Just saying.
Well, I'm glad he mentioned that the telephone call, that phone sex. Emma sat down and was like, "Hey, can I watch this?" And luckily it was right after that scene had happened that I said, "No, I don't think that's a good idea."
I mean, there's nothing graphic about it.
His son said, "That's the president." I want to know what his feedback was on that phone call. "Dad, who's that lady, Daddy?"
Your daughter is half Brazilian, Big D.
What does that generalization mean?
I'm just saying they're muy caliente and they're
Okay.
that's Spanish. I mean, what's the Portuguese version of muy caliente?
Quenchi or like gostosa.
Gostosa.
It's like yummy.
Yeah. I'm not saying your daughter's yummy. I'm saying that they got
Brazilian
that.
They're gostosa.
They're very a passionate people, let's say. She knows what phone sex is. She's a 9-year-old now? What?
Good job.
9-year-old in 2025. Come on.
Okay.
Anyway, Brave Sir Eric. Also, everyone I talked about this movie thought I was talking about Small Soldiers as well, including the King Bee. I distinctly remember Toy Soldiers from my childhood. And frankly, this commission is long overdue. We did Taps way back in 2021. It's been 4 years. And Sean Astin in Toy Soldiers is like the comedic yin to Tom Cruise's dramatic yang. These movies, they're parallels. They are salt and sugar, day and night, good and evil. And keeping them apart by 4 years was a wrong that you, Brave Sir Eric, righteously corrected. Balance is restored in the Shadowverse. I was very excited for this film.
So I combined the two in my head. And then I thought there was lots of these films in the 90s where kids would have to, like a Home Alone, where kids would have to take on adults, an adult situation and overcome, with their ingenuity or their ability to plan and circumvent the adult's knowledge. No, completely wrong. So I'm looking at it. I went back. Yes, as adults, this was the age of the everyman versus professional killer or mercenary. You had Die Hard 98, then 2 in 90, Under Siege, Passenger 57, The Rock, Con Air, Air Force One. There's a bunch of them. But we didn't get a kid one until this. Well, actually, sorry, early on we did. We got War Games and Red Dawn and Taps. But then this came back, tried to reinvent the genre again in 91. Didn't really work. I hadn't remembered it. But yeah, I would have sworn that they were going back into a military school, and I was surprised to see very different film, but not surprised it wasn't a huge hit.
Hey, don't forget your favorite movie of all time, Cloak and Dagger.
That is a good one. That's a very good one.
Toy Soldiers is the 1991 action thriller starring Sean Astin, Wil Wheaton, Louis Gossett Jr., Jerry Orbach, Arlie Ermey, and Denham Elliott. The plot revolves around an all-male boarding school overtaken by terrorists. While the authorities remain helpless, a group of rebellious students decide to put their resourcefulness to good use. Let's hit the trailer.
The Regis School for Boys, where the country's best families
Hey, bring that back here!
send the world's worst students.
you're gonna kick me out, kick me out.
They'd make 4 prep schools in 4 years. You're trying for the Guinness Book of Records?
But these boys are in for a real shock.
Fuego! If you do not produce my father unharmed, I will begin executing the hostages. I'm sure by now you have discovered who their parents are.
Chairman of the Armed Services Committee, Vice Chairman of the Republican Party.
What does your father do, William?
Contractor?
According to this, he owns the 3rd largest construction company in the world.
Yeah, he's a contractor.
My boys, many of them, they have a real problem with authority.
Are you with me or not?
Of course we're with you.
But if you get a shot, we're gonna be PO'd.
I have an assault force in a staging area 5 minutes away.
You have seen these orange wires. These are wired to explosives.
The kid can get the other students out of the line of fire.
If any one of these wires is cut, they will explode!
This kid has been kicked out of 2 schools.
Well, 3 schools.
Yeah. No. That's a detonator.
He's got guts. He's a leader. If Billy says he can do it, I gotta believe he can.
That's the signal. All right. We're really gonna do this? You bet.
Toy soldiers.
In Colombia, terrorist Luis Cali has taken over the Palace of Justice with a team of mercenaries. He demands the release of his drug kingpin father, Enrique Cali, only to learn that his father has already been extradited to the United States to stand trial. The terrorists escape by helicopter and enter the U.S. through Mexico.
So the movie kicks off, and I'm getting A-Team vibes. This seems like a Knight Rider, an Airwolf, some kind of a television series where we're going to get a generic South American terrorist, some organization. These are Colombian terrorists, and we're introduced to them. They're taking over like some government building. We see outside the crowds are chaotic. There's action. The reporters are there. It's a big to do. It's over the top, and I'm thinking, okay, A-Team. I know what I'm getting into. Then out of nowhere, Gene, for people who haven't seen this, there's hostages being held in this courthouse. And they're speaking Spanish, and there's a nice woman in a pink dress. Nobody hurts the woman in the pink dress. They fire her out the window, Gene, right away. She hits the ground, head exploded, blood everywhere. I'm like, wow. We normally don't get terrorists in these movies that start off showing you they mean business. And these guys do. Then they get the judge. They take him up in a helicopter. They throw his ass out. And I know we can see the parachute on the judge. He flies out. These terrorists mean business. And this, even though it looks like an 80s stylized action, like television series, very different, very different.
Fuck the parachute. How high was that helicopter up in the air? The guy's falling for like a fucking hour. I'm like, they just took off. What's going on here? But it's funny you mentioned TV because you're right, Big D. The camera angles, the styling, and most strikingly, what I caught on was the sound effects. Like the machine guns are like, it's like that, the machine gun, like the noise that they used in every 80s show. And so I had misgivings early on. Thankfully, from this 80s TV opening, minus people being thrown out of helicopters and windows, Toy Soldiers did gain some quality in the later acts. So people, when you're watching this movie and you see the opening scene, don't give up on it. The movie does get better.
Yeah, and you need to know what a bad guy or what an organization is capable of. If you're going to kill a woman, I believe you'll kill a teenager. So there is some stakes in the game here. And we meet the kids. We go to the school. It's a school for these kids who've gotten in trouble, a bit of misfits. This is their last chance. Usually they're very affluent. And the main kid, Billy Tepper, is Sean Astin. This is Mikey. He will never be anything other than Mikey, or what was what Hobbit was he? Which one was
Samwise Gamgee.
Okay, so he will either be Mikey or Samwise Gamgee because the Goonies made him. He's nerdy. He's a wheezy little guy. He's got asthma, doesn't have game with the girls, and we love him for it. Then all of a sudden, this movie comes a couple years later, Toy Soldiers, and you can tell right away. I texted you. I said, I'll bet you that Sean Astin got tons of action back in this time. He's got the Steve Guttenberg hair. He's got like the abs. He's looking good. He's like a beefed up, more rebellious, tougher, smooth talking Michael J. Fox. And he's got a little edge. and it's not working totally, but I can see what they were doing. It obviously failed in the end. As the movie goes on, he's less motivational, like rebellious leader, and more whiny, privileged teen. He should have stayed in his lane. And the movies after this must have destroyed his ego, because he became Rudy. He became the Hobbit. He was less John McClane and more perpetual nerd. You don't watch Stranger Things, right?
I've seen the first 2 seasons.
Is he in the seasons you watched?
Yes.
Where he's like the nerdy, like he runs some kind of
Radio
store
Shack guy, yeah.
Yes, that's his lot in life. And when he did this, he must have been thinking, "Oh, I'm going to bank. I'm set for life."
I just don't understand how the fuck he was 28 years old when he filmed Fellowship of the Rings, right? So it came out, I think, when he was like 30, but when they actually started filming, he was 28. In all the movies you mentioned, Rudy, Toy Soldiers, he looks 23. When he's 28, he looks 23. When he's a teenager, he looks 23. He just always looks 23. He's like a chubby Paul Rudd. I don't get it. So when I was watching this movie, I thought he looked kind of old to be at this school. But then in Lord of the Rings, he looks way too young to be the age that he is. I don't know. The guy fucks with my head. But I agree with you. You needed a more zippy, more aggressive, a little bit more of a rapscallion, somebody slightly malicious to play this role. He's just not the tough guy they were looking for.
No, and I would love to see some kind of splicing or hybrid of a Rudy trailer and this. Throw scenes of Rudy scampering around the campus and about practice and all that, and to see and mix it in with this would be very interesting.
Just terrorists dropping in on the football team.
No, him giving his speech like, "We could do anything. There's nothing you could tell us," and him speaking to the team, something like that. Like mix his speeches in. It would be great.
Also, as a note for the nerds out there, he is not the Hobbit. He is just a Hobbit. You can take that to the Shire. At Regis High School, a prep school for teenage boys with wealthy and influential parents, a group of pranksters led by William Billy Tepper includes Joey Trotta, Hank Giles, Ricky Montoya, Snuffy Bradbury, and Phil Donahue. Phil's father is a federal judge presiding over Enrique Cali's trial, so the entire family is taken to a safe location as a precaution. Unaware of this, Luis Cali and his men invade the school while Dean Edward Parker is away, killing a campus police officer and a faculty member who intervenes. They set up lookout posts with heavy firearms and rig the campus with explosives. With the sons of numerous influential individuals in his grasp, Luis takes the entire school hostage. So, as I just mentioned, we got some pranksters in the group, right? These are the cool kids. They have a problem with authority. They've been expelled from other schools, but Louis Gossett Jr., he's not going to give up on them. No. And these boys, one night, they take the fake mouthwash that's actually vodka with a little creme de menthe, and they take a little phone hookup, which I thought was going to be a Chekhov's gun. I thought they were going to use it to call for help later in the movie. Nope, it just gets crushed. They go down into the secret basement of the school, and they access a phone sex line. Now, I get that they tapped into the phone line. What I don't get is how they got access to the phone sex line without having to pay for it. But nostalgia crept in, and it got me thinking about how 1-900 numbers were like the peak jerk-off experience for teen boys in the 90s. Yes, you could find a Playboy, and that was very, very cool. Let's see, that's like second best. Third best would be what I did, which is stealing all the tags off the lingerie at Mervyn's. But the number one is if you got on a phone sex line, you were talking to a real dirty lady on the phone, and that is tops. But then the internet came along, and I was like, did the internet kill phone sex lines, or did they die off on their own? No. Turns out, definitely the internet. Free online porn and relatively cheap services like OnlyFans and My Free Cams basically decimated phone sex lines. But Big D, they're not entirely gone. They still exist. Yeah. Here's a wild number I found in my research. In the early 2000s, I could not believe this. 1-900 numbers were pulling in $1 billion a year, charging $2 to $5 a minute for calls. This is like 80s money, $5. That is a lot of fucking money per minute. Now, that figure is in the millions of dollars. It's been a very sad decline. And it's mostly on these niche platforms, which are kind of like personals. It's kind of like the back pages. Like you actually go to a site. I think one of them is called like Night Flight or Night Talker or something like that. You go there and all the women have their listings on there. There might be men on there too. I didn't really look that closely, but and you just like find the one you want, and then through the internet you access the call, right? So they still exist. Some people like the anonymity or just like the old school feel, or I'm guessing there's some boomers out there who are just not ready for OnlyFans, and so the service is there. But man, talk about the women who are just displaced by this shift in technology. It's a shame.
Everybody, that's Gene Lyons, porn historian.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's a new section of the podcast where he's going to break down the history of porn. And I think it was successful because it left something to the imagination. Yeah. You didn't know what the person looked like. You didn't know. There was a mystery. I could see how it was stimulating, but I would never do that because I was afraid it would come up on the phone bill. How would you explain that to your parents? You can't hide it. You could hide a Penthouse or a Hustler or a Swank or some of the other more edgy books, from your parents, but you can't hide that bill. I would never do that. But, Gene, our little fun group of scallywags and rascallions and these little scamps, they're running around causing havoc throughout the campus. And in this one instance, their hijinks and little fun play is going to get them in some trouble. They're down there, they're frolicking, they're drinking, getting drunk. They're all listening in a weird circle formation in this erotic conversation. I don't know what would have happened if the camera had continued, if these boys, I don't know, why would you do phone sex with 5 other guys?
It's the same reason you carpool to the strip club.
That's transportation. What are you telling? Was this like a fluffing instance where they're all working it up, then they go into a corner by themselves and finish? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's economy of scale, right? You get 6 dudes can listen instead of just 1.
So they're all sitting there. They're getting their rock hard. These guys are fluffing up, getting excited, and then they go back to their rooms and finish it off, or what?
Bro, were you never that age? I just had a boner at all times anyway.
Yeah, but I wouldn't.
I didn't need the call.
I wouldn't do that in front of people. But a bigger problem I have here is they're portraying Billy as the leader. He's the brave focal point. He's going to motivate these boys. And he's in a situation here where he can be a hero. You have the dean comes in. Dean Parker's smart. He comes in. He knows right away what's up. The gang is drinking. They're calling the phone sex. And we get that Billy's going to step up. And he says, I'm here. I'm all alone. He's going to shield his buddies. He's going to take the hit. He's going to protect them. They're off in the background here. But does he really want to protect his friends? Because that Dean Parker is going to do, hey, where is everybody come out? If he wants to protect his friends, I say you go full nuclear, Gene. If he hears the dean coming, drop your pants. Start fluffing up. Start working it. Get into like a sweaty, like excited state to where Dean walks in, he sees you on the table, beating your meat, drinking, phone sex. There's no way he's going to think that the other boys are hiding in that room. He would think, holy shit, I caught him alone. This is kind of embarrassing. Maybe he's got issues. I could talk to him. He might have shielded all these boys and taken a legendary sacrifice that they'd talk about for years.
I don't know about the nuclear option. He could have just gone like sternly worded letter from NATO. Just had his pants kind of down and then pulled him up real quickly and went, that's all he needed to do. But maybe that's why he got expelled from 3 other schools and he doesn't want to get expelled from Regis. So he's not going to jerk off anymore in front of the dean. But beyond that, nobody takes Dean Parker seriously. I think he didn't really commit to this because this guy, anytime anybody does anything that's against the code of conduct, Louis Gossett Jr. just smirks and does that like, boys will be boys sort of way. And then, I admire your ingenuity. You're such good. This is the softest dean in the history of boarding schools.
I disagree. But do you think Billy's possibly, because he's the ringleader, right? He got all the boys.
Yeah.
Is he grooming these boys? Is there something going on here? No. So this is clean fun. This is just, hey, let's all go jerk off. It's
there's no girls around.
Okay. I mean,
I don't think they're going to jerk off. I think they're just having a good time.
Okay.
Look, there's no internet. They don't have like satellite TV. They can't get off campus. Like, what are you going to do? Read Dostoevsky? No, you go call a phone sex line.
Okay. I'll forgive you. But
they should have done ad libs. It would have been a lot more fun. Fuck, you're going to get drunk. Who needs a phone sex line? Let's just get drunk.
Oh, get a nudie magazine. They're we see them in the kids' bedrooms.
Yeah, yogurts, yeah.
Yeah, go down there with the magazines, do whatever you're going to do. But besides these kids being troublemakers in school, they also have some very powerful fathers. big time families. And it comes into play here because the terrorists, they're going there to catch one specific kid whose father, I believe, was big in the Justice Department. The kid, the government smartly, they got him out the day before. So the terrorists, they have to pivot. And it's a good thing because this school, for what looks like kind of a rundown last stop, it has got every powerful family's kids here. Every bad kid of a powerful member in the United States is there. Biggest construction company in the world. Yep, dad's there. Bank president, executive, major lawyer, somebody who's like, I think he's the head of the Republican Party. These are they must have pulled out the Fortune 500 or Fortune magazine and just picked out titles. And they're going down because it's primarily an affluent white school. They're reading off, oh, your father's the president. And I'm just watching as they're going down the line. And they're going to get to the one black kid, the one friend. What's his name?
Hank.
And they're getting closer to Hank. And I'm like, don't do it. Do not do it. I'm expecting fully they're going to be like, and Hank, your father is the running back for the New York Giants. Thankfully, they didn't. Hank's father was a business leader. I don't remember what it was. But I was thinking, thank you. Thank you, Toy Soldiers, for not playing into that normal trope of the 80s and 90s where the only wealthy black kid, the father's a professional athlete.
Big D, obviously, I can't speak for the black community, but other than Lamar in Revenge of the Nerds, I can't really think of a blockbuster teen comedy before Toy Soldiers that featured a black character and a group of white friends. And I racked my brain. I double checked it with ChatGPT and Google. And there are movies that had a bunch of friends that were teenagers and coming of age films. And there were movies with black teens that were featured, but never a group of white friends with a black teen among them. This was some groundbreaking shit for Toy Soldiers. I think they even played on this theme. There's this great scene where the Colombians are going down, they're counting everybody down. You got to have 92 people during the count. And if your head count is short, they're going to execute 5 kids. Billy's running late. He's missing. And of all the kids that could have line up twice to get counted, fucking Hank, the one black kid goes twice. He's like, I've already seen you. Yeah, of course you're going to notice that guy. That was kind of funny. I like to think it was intentional.
Definitely. And he wasn't just the token friend. He didn't have a catchphrase. What you talking about?
Yeah.
Damn. None of that.
In fact, I would say that some of the other kids were trying to emulate him a little bit. Like they were trying to.
He's a role model.
Yeah, he's trying to be as cool as Hank was. So good job, Toy Soldiers. Yeah. Well, underestimating the threat, the local sheriff attempts to intervene, but is repelled by heavy weapons fire. The state police, FBI, and U.S. Army are called in, keeping their distance to avoid provoking the terrorists. The Colombians arm the explosives with a detonator wired to a remote control gadget, which Luis tapes to the back of his hand. Luis warns the authorities he will set off the explosives should they attack the school. He releases the school faculty, except for the cooks and the headmaster, Dr. Robert Gould, demanding his father's release in exchange for the hostages, and he institutes hourly head counts. Now, there are some tensions in this film between the different cohorts of good guys, and Toy Soldiers had the opportunity to ramp that up a little bit and create some real drama between officials who wanted to negotiate and the officials who wanted to storm the school. And the filmmakers, they go out there and they're going, who are going to get it to be the general in this movie? And they get Arlie Ermey. This is Sergeant Hartman from Full Metal Jacket. And they put him in as the general in charge of the operation. And I'm like, oh shit, we're going to get this war-crazed general who's just drooling for the blood of Colombian terrorists. And they're going to have the FBI and Louis Gossett Jr. being like, no, a direct assault is going to end in dead kids. And I thought it was going to be ramped up and he's just going to try going charging forward and kind of make him almost like a quasi villain. I could just hear him being like, I got 40 Marines on standby who can make those walls bleed freedom in under 3 minutes. You give me the green light and I'll turn that school into a terrorist petting zoo with a 100% mortality rate. Instead, he just kind of folds. They toned him way down. And this is after Full Metal Jacket.
No, I agree. And most of the movies would turn the military into hell-bent on, starting a war, going in regardless of whatever you could do. But I didn't want him to go in there guns a-blazing. I wanted him to be the military consultant. How was he on set and not correcting what was going on there? You have an expert. he should be there correcting, because they obviously did not have a military expert on set. It was pretty bad. Although
they did get posse comitatus correct. Did you notice that? He shows up and he's like, hey, we're here as a support role. Like that's what the military can do here. That's it.
I also saw how those troops rappel and run around and get into the prone position and aim, like resting their rifle on the magazine. Yeah, it's not a well-trained group of military experts.
I got to say, Big D, though, that wasn't my biggest disappointment. I was far more disappointed with Toy Soldier's inconsistency of the threat from Louis's crew. You mentioned they're throwing ladies out of windows. They're tossing judges out of helicopters. They get stopped by the Border Patrol, and they don't just kill these guys. They kill the Border Patrol, then put them in a car, then blow that car up. Like, way to make a real stealthy entrance in the United States. Louis, when they invade the school, he elbows a teacher to the ground. The dude is not a threat. He just fucking shoots the guy just because. Dead teacher. So we know these guys are killers. They like to kill. It's fun for them. Then suddenly, the threat just evaporates. They're doing recounts to avoid killing the hostages. 90, 91. Where's 92? Count them again. Count them again. Right. They're watching remote control airplanes, which could be the FBI, could be the military. You don't know. Just zooming around the quad. They are forgiving every infraction except for Billy getting whipped on the back for coming out of the shower late. Joey fucking grabs a gun from a guy and starts shooting. I fully expected Louis, as the ringleader of the terrorists, to be like, okay, we're going to line up 10 students and execute all of them, to be like, none of you touches a fucking gun again. If I see anyone even near a gun, I'm going to kill 10 more people. Instead, they just leave Joey's body on the steps with the submachine gun right next to it. Nobody watching over them. And then he just mopes off. I don't know what the fuck happened during their stay at Regis School, but something happened to these terrorists that just took all the teeth out of their bite.
See, but I think Louis also, I expected him to shoot the one terrorist who shot the kid, because you've shot the New Jersey crime boss's son. This is going to cause a problem. Show that you're unhinged. Instead, when they get to the school, Louis is sitting in the dean's office, sipping tea from a gold-rimmed china cup and saucer with his little pinky out. He's quite fancy. He's not the hardened killer that he set the example in the beginning. You have to crack down on these kids right away, right off. You come into school. If you go to prison, what do you got to do, Gene? Your first day in prison.
Yeah, you got to set an example. You got to show everybody you're tough.
Yes, he should have called out. He probably would have gone after Hank. That's truly who he would have called out, because Hank looked like a tough kid. You break Hank's nose, the other kids get in line. If you want to keep, because I worked at a summer camp, Gene, and I know how to handle large groups of kids and to keep them counted. You split it in half. You have a buddy. Take the 92 and create 2 pairs of 46. You handcuff them, zip tie them, whatever together. That way you know at any time which pair or an individual that's missing. That's how you track them. You don't let them stay in individual small rooms. You put them in the gymnasium. You put them in the cafeteria. Put them someplace you can watch it. They're out, Gene, without the fences. It's like summer camp.
I mean, they are kind of winging it, though, right? They thought they're going to go in there, they're going to grab this one kid, and then they're going to fortify the school. At that point, they wouldn't need all those hostages. They just need the one kid, right? Now they got a bunch of kids. I don't understand why they kept so many of the kids, right? Get like 8 of them. You're fine. 8 is enough.
So, Gene, if their plan was to get in and get out, why would you bring all that like hardcore weaponry?
No, not get in and get out. Get in and just grab the one kid whose dad is the judge, and then you fortify the place, right?
But why? You want to get away. The whole point is to just get them, get away. I think then you blackmail. You didn't need to blackmail in the school.
Well, I mean, no, that part was stupid as shit, but I'm saying that's clearly was the plan, though. I mean, beyond that, right? Why are you rigging the entire place with explosives when you've got teen boys running around? If one of them is just like, oh, let me see what I can do here, you're all dead.
Gene, even better. You put vests on the kids, and the vests are connected. If the kids separate, both of them blow up.
Oh, so you had a problem with it in Running Man, but suddenly it's okay here in Toy Soldiers.
Oh, these are affluent kids. They deserve it. Force them to work together.
By the way, I saw the trailer for the new Running Man.
I have not.
And it's the story that you told me. It's just for money.
Huh.
There's no Butcher of Bakersfield. I love it.
All right. We'll see how it works.
Also, a little twist on it. Everybody in the world can go after him. He's out in public.
Do you get any kind of like prize?
Yeah, you get a prize for killing him.
That's interesting because you have like a
cool.
Bob Barker.
Yeah.
Like if you see him running, because then if you ran through your neighborhood,
yeah,
then everybody starts chasing him.
Mm-hmm.
You get a new car.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. Also, saw the new Naked Gun, took my mom to the movies. Better than the original.
Wow.
Write to us, hosts@shatpod.com. Tell me I'm wrong. The students under Billy's leadership collect tactical information about the terrorists, which Billy covertly brings to the authorities on the outside. Joey's father, New Jersey mob boss Albert Trotta, arranges for Joey to be released, but Joey, contemptuous of his father, refuses to go. He overpowers a guard, steals a submachine gun, and opens fire on another terrorist, but is killed in the exchange. Luis tries to impress upon Parker, who comes to retrieve the body, that it was an accident. But the grief-stricken Albert takes revenge by having Enrique Calle killed in prison.
So, Gene, a lot of times when people give us negative reviews, it's, oh, they're too critical. Why are they picking apart these movies from the 80s and the 90s? It's a different time. And we try not to do that. But lately, I think probably the last 5 movies, we found ourselves rewriting to make a plot tighter, questioning why plots wandered. How could we cut the fat? And Toy Soldiers is another one of those. You already have a simple premise. Colombian terrorists take over a prep school full of rich kids. Why do we need the mob angle? One of the kids has a dad. He's the Jersey mafia boss. And suddenly now we're dealing with cartel mob diplomacy in prison negotiations, prison riots, secret radio codes, a dead mobster, then dead dad. What's the point? Unless it's like Don Corleone is going to send in like a mob SWAT like hit team into the courtyard, it's pointless. Stick to terrorists, spoiled kids. We didn't need to wander off course with all this nonsense, and then the son gets shot. Ridiculous.
Okay, to be fair, it was kind of cool to see Joey Orbach in a movie, and it was cool to see Enrique get his throat slit before he was thrown off of a prison block. In my book, they kept the movie under 2 hours. I'll allow a little frivolity, but I agree with you, Big D. It's unnecessary. Like, they could have cut this out completely, and Joey could have just gone haywire and tried to steal a gun from a guard, which he wanted to do in the first place. They all told him not to do it, that it was stupid, and he got himself killed. That's it. It's that simple.
That's it. He doesn't like his dad. His dad's got a temper. He's got a temper. He acts rash and does it. We've saved little moments like, is that your father? Is that him? Yes. Oh, and the winks and nods. We don't need all that shit. We didn't need it, Gene. But Gene, I've also tried to grow as we've done these podcasts over the years. I think back to some of my ideas and what I would say early on that now I would not, because you, Ash, Roger, the whole podcast, Kerry Gross has broadened my horizon. I think has made me
the woke wing of the podcast.
Yeah, the woke wing. You guys have poisoned me with your your woke. I went back and listened to the first episode. I was shocked. It was Escape from New York when I introduced your theme song about getting on your soapbox and spreading social justice with your cape on, and we did a T-shirt.
I think I might be losing the war in the grand scheme of things.
Well, I think you are. I think you need to create some kind of like what do they call it? The Super Friends. Or you have to try to partner up with some of your, like, call a Hall of Wokeness. Yeah. Where you could have all the
Lib League.
The Lib League of social justice warriors. But I started to have an awakening, Gene, in this movie and started to understand some of the complaints that women have had during the 80s and the 90s. And I know they would throw in, and we joked about the dumb shower scene, where the girls are all mindlessly showering together, giggling. They're all they're all catty, and they're giggling about the boys, and they're snapping towels, and they're having pillow fights during their sleepover. Well, for years we've talked about it, right? And it's usually the hallmark. One of the, like, if we're the bingo card of 80s and 90s high school movies, girls in the shower. Okay, we got it. I started to feel it, Gene, for the first time to understand what the women were saying. The group of boys, they're hot young men in this film that are cast as young boys. These dudes are literally in a hostage situation. And every time we see them, when they go into their room, there's 7 of them or 8 of them in this room, to make their escape plans, they're inevitably shirtless and in little tiny tighty whities. every single time we see them. They're 6 sweaty boys. They're hanging out in the dorm room in their tighty whities, their packages on full display, talking tactics. They're bending over. Right when their friend gets murdered, it cuts directly, Gene, boom, into like hot boy band skin action. One of the dudes, the Spanish kid, what was his name? The good looking dude, Ricardo Montoya. There is a Ricardo Montoya. That is him. It is Ricardo Montoya. Yeah, Ricardo Montoya has a well-groomed landing strip visible above his tighty whities. I felt it. As a man, I felt objectified. These boys are more than just their hot buns, their swollen packages and tighty whitey underwear, and their glistening pecs and backs, frolicking and wrestling and giggling and making these war plans.
I hate to bring cynicism into this podcast, Big D, but I'm pretty sure this was to make the action movie appealing to the female audience. Like, the guys are getting what they want. They got Colombian terrorists and judges being thrown out of helicopters and rocket launchers and shit. And they're like, what are we going to do for the ladies? Okay, we're going to put these guys in their underwear. Something was going on. I don't think this was an accident. Wardrobe.
Every time.
Yeah, there are a lot of weird shirts in this movie that are just cut up very artistically, like draped off a dude's shoulders. They had the soccer players climbing on each other in their Adidas Sambas, their little uniforms. The only one that doesn't make sense to me is Louis Gossett Jr. They fucked this guy over. He had some incredibly unflattering, like pleated chinos and like a billowing shirt and a goofy tie. Could you make him look more pathetic? I don't know. But the guys, that is 100% eye candy for teens and young ladies. And I don't blame them.
At least they got something out of it. But I was always, the way in my mind, I was thinking the only way you could explain this is if they were trying to stop the boys from being able to escape at night.
Took their pants.
If you force them all to strip down into their underwear, they'd be less likely to try to escape through the woods. And, embarrassment, maybe they get cut up, but it doesn't make any sense other than what you're saying. Yes, so the female audience was excited. But as the guy in the audience, I would have wanted the movie to make sense. Give me some good action, give me a good plot, give me some tension and characters I care about that might die. So Billy's plan to save the school, we're assuming you haven't watched it. School is wrapped in what looks like det cord, C4 explosives. There is a garage door opener that's strapped to the head terrorist's arm. There is a unit in the headmaster's office or the dean's office that if he pushes the button, it will explode. So Billy's plan to sabotage the terrorist remote explosive, it hinges on this really elaborate plan to swap out a computer chip into the device by taking one out of the remote-controlled plane. The military expert isn't even sure if this will work or if it will set off the explosive, but Billy goes forward with it. He crawls through the vent. He does secret maneuvers, gets down in there. He swaps the chip. Instead of destroying it, throwing it out the window, hiding it so that the bomb can never go off, he puts it into the plane. Unless it's for some kind of like funny comedic moment at the end where there's going to be some slapstick hijinks where the plane goes off, which it does, it's a stupid plan.
Yeah, he makes poor Yogurt. There's a kid named Yogurt that they're staying with who's like this whiz with remote control things, which I'm really not that convinced of. What he recognizes is there is a chip that you pull out. He makes Yogurt come with him. They crawl through the air ducts, this poor kid, and Yogurt's hanging out of the air duct talking to Billy while Billy's infiltrating the office to steal this chip. And he's like, okay, well, you take the chip out of this one, and then you take the chip out of that one. Was it necessary for Yogurt to come along at all? Just be like, hey, go in there. There's going to be a blue box. Open it up. Take the fucking chip out. The end, right? The end. Yeah, you're absolutely right. All they wanted was this gag of the RC plane, which, by the way, can't start itself up. No. It's a gas motor, you idiots. Jeez.
No, again, I thought you would have the kid get killed because they get caught. Have Yogurt die tragically. Now that blood is on Billy's hands.
I love when they get caught coming out of the air duct and the guy with the submachine gun, the terrorist, is like, shh, go over there. I'm going to sneak up on this other dude. No, he's going to light them the fuck up.
Exactly. You should have shot yogurt. Everyone cries. Then they've really learned to get in line. But instead, no, these are the kindest camp counselor terrorists ever.
Fuck, while we're on a roll, I got to talk about one more thing. They tell the kid who's standing watch in the bathroom, they say, okay, you're going to run the sink. And if there's a problem down here, you then will turn the faucet off so that if we don't hear running water, we will stay in the air duct and not get caught. Why the fuck would you do it that way and not say, if there is a problem, turn the water on? Because that way, even if it's not that kid, and if anybody else turns the water on, you know there's somebody in the bathroom. Therefore, you do not come down.
How about you just sit on the toilet and start flushing?
Yeah.
Do some symbol.
Or scream.
Moan. Pretend like you get the kid outside pretending to have an asthma attack. Just pretend like, like you're really working on a hard bowel movement. Make it something obvious. The guys, no terrorists want to come in that stall and check on you. If you act like you're doing a 5 wiper, he'll leave you alone.
These kids are terrible. Knowing they must act before Luis can learn of his father's death, the authorities undertake a rescue mission. FBI hostage rescue team personnel infiltrate the school and begin taking out the terrorists. Meanwhile, Billy and his friends sabotage the remote control receiver for the detonator, overpower their guards, and lead the students to a secret basement chamber. Overwhelmed, Luis takes Billy at gunpoint and presses the button on his gadget, but that only activates a toy airplane. Parker and the commandos converge on Luis. Luis shoots Parker, but Billy elbows him in the abdomen, giving a commando the chance to shoot the Colombian in the head, killing him. So before I lay down this criticism, I want to note that I appreciate how hard it was to get a helicopter shot in 1991. There were no drones. You had to first get a helicopter. You had to get a place to fly said helicopter. Then you had to get another helicopter with a big ass camera on it to film the first helicopter. Then you had to coordinate with the stunt people who were rappelling out of the helicopter and the actors on the ground who were running around, including, if you watch closely, the one guy who trips and falls while sprinting. Toy Soldiers really had its work cut out for these helicopter scenes. But unlike you, Big D, and unlike Brave Sir Eric, sometimes I have to ask why. Like, we've established the school is a 100-yard drive from the gate. The gate is open. Snipers have taken out the machine gun emplacements. Why aren't the good guys just rolling in with like armored cars? How are helicopters sneaking up on terrorists? We see a full-on whoop helicopter come up. It doesn't make any sense. It's just extra.
So, Gene, the reason why the government isn't coming in, because they're looking through their binoculars and they're like, these fucking kids are out sunbathing. They're playing Frisbee. These kids are laying down. They're whispering. They're gossiping. These kids are having fun. Why would you? It's not like you're killing the hostages. These kids are having a great day. So you're going to be patient. But this scene, Gene, you're questioning why it's in there. This scene was made for me, Gene. I love helicopters. I've been around them at Fort Campbell in the Army. When those Blackhawks came swooping in, there's 2 of them, beautiful birds at a little bit of a distance. I'm like, oh, silly filmmakers. Those don't have a forward-facing cannon. You know, you got some side-mounted, look like M60s. Boom. They surprise me, Gene. Up pops a beautiful new shiny Apache. Not from a distance, Gene. It's like 8 feet in front of the bell tower. And it just opens up. It lights up the bell. It lights up the terrorists. It's pure helicopter porn. And I love it, even though this is not how you would do it. You'd have the helicopters at a distance in night using their advanced thermal imaging. But dude, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, Gene. But we talk about these 2 terrorists, right? I cannot go any further without talking how possibly the worst luck almost ended in disaster. The military finally sends in a group of 3 commandos. The commandos successfully hit the 2 terrorists. They covertly go right up to the next of the building. They've won, Gene. They're in. They're going to take out all the terrorists covertly, silently, no bloodshed, no innocent students are going to get lost. The terrorist on the roof who's dying, it's like a Rube Goldberg machine. He rolls over in the wind, happens to be holding a grenade with the pin out. It rolls out of his hand, down the gutter, hits the gutter, falls to the ground right in the middle of 3 military non-distinct commandos. It almost kills them all. The worst possible luck ever.
Yeah, when I initially saw that grenade fall, I thought it was going to be like, yes, there was an explosion. I didn't expect it to actually hurt anybody. So then we see 2 guys dead, 1 guy is maimed, and the only person left to help them is the dean, Louis Gossett Jr.
Yes, because the end of this movie is like a fevered dream. It is a ridiculous climax of 90s action chaos. They've been saving it up for this moment. You got Dean Parker, pencil pusher, supportive teacher, shoulder to cry on, fun guy Dean. He'll take your porn and your alcohol, but he'll pat you on the back. He stumbles upon our 3 dead commandos, but surprise, Dean, one of them has only lost a leg and he's half dead. And the commando says, Dean, take my weapon. He hands him a handgun. The Dean then scales the side of this building. Then he walks in, jumps through the window. He's in the middle of a hostage standoff with Billy at gunpoint. There's the remote control plane that is now comedically started and is flying around the room as Billy has a gun to his head. It's buzzing around, total mayhem. Billy kicks Trotter. We get a full-blown head explosion. One of the troopers or whoever these commandos comes in, blows the terrorist's head off. Then we get the Dean takes 3 or 4 bullets to the chest, to the leg, in the crossfire. It's loud, messy. It's over the top. And for a movie that is militarily themed, where was R. Lee Ermey in this? He must have said, wait a minute. You're telling me the Dean is going to take a firearm from a Navy SEAL who gives it to him to climb? He's never been trained in this weapon? No. He's going to jump through the window and then he's going to get shot. It is ridiculous. But the movie, they did not go cheap on the squibs because these are some giant bullet wounds in all these people.
Oh, yeah. It was enormous and very, very satisfying to see Louis's head explode. And to the film's credit, yes, Dean Parker does jump through a window with a gun, but he gets lit up. I mean, it's not like he was effective in really any way. My issue is more with the denouement after that. I've seen enough 90s movies to casually roll my eyes when the good guys get wheeled away on a stretcher. We always see that at the end of the movie, right? It's like the house is burning or whatever, and they're wheeling away the guy in the stretcher, and they take a second to clasp hands or congratulate the hero or something. We're pretty immune to that, you and I, here at Shat the Movies. We've seen enough movies. Toy Soldiers, it goes way overboard with this. Parker is shot in the chest at close range. We see the wound. They give him this simple loose bandage. And Big D, I'll have you know that in preparation to be a dad, I have now become CPR certified and also have studied first aid. So I know what to do with a wound to the chest. It is not a loose bandage. Parker takes a seat next to Billy in the hallway, and they have a full-on conversation about graduation and how Billy still has to do pots and pans. Have you, when you were in the military or just as a dad, have you had basic first aid training for chest wounds?
Yes, Gene, there's no training that would have saved Dean Parker. There was no triage. There was no compression. There was no trying to stop the bleeding. This looks like if you took your daughter, Gene, and you said, let's be, for Halloween, who wants to be a mummy? And you take out a roll of toilet paper and you loosely wrap the Dean's entire top up. There was no blood seeping through. I thought for sure he was dead. Yeah. Multiple large caliber wounds throughout his body. It was something to behold.
Well, now is the time in the podcast we give our Shat score for Toy Soldiers. The Shat score is our way of telling you how many wipes this movie would take to get off your respective butts. 0 wipes is a perfect movie. It's being a black man with long blonde hair. And 5 wipes is an absolute disaster of a film. It's when your school gets taken over by terrorists and you're still on pots and pans. I'll go first, Big D. If TAPS didn't exist, I might have liked Toy Soldiers more. But aside from a few moments of teens being teens, this movie is a mess. The villains are inconsistent in their severity and their tactics. The action was corny without being awesome. I can accept corny like Delta Force as long as it's awesome at the same time. Rocket launchers on fucking dirt bikes. The cast, Eric is right. This is a great cast. They are horribly misused. I'm going to go 4.25 wipes.
Man, it's a tough one because the movie, it didn't work for me. It didn't work well as a premise, but I still had a good time in moments. I feel like the failed attempt to turn like Sean Mikey Astin into some kind of like teen action hero, like an Emilio Estevez or a young gung actor, it didn't work. The whole plot, too contrived, too messy. The whole mob subplot, the shirtless dorm frolicking and play. Yeah, the helicopter assault, liked it. It was good. Remote control plane, bad. Headshots, good. Commando Dean Parker, good. Felt silly. But that's the thing. It was the ridiculous moments made me laugh. And they stood out enough that I couldn't say they were trying, Gene. They were trying. And if I was there in the theater in 91 and I'd shared a popcorn with a friend, we'd had a soda, gone to CVS and shoplifted candy and seen this film, we wouldn't be upset. And I wasn't upset that we watched it. Is it as good as Taps or have a profound message to teach us about the value of life and how kids can be guided by the military industry? No. Nobody in the film's traumatized, no matter all the blood and brain matter that's all over Billy and his hair. But for me, I left unscathed. I think it is 3.5 wipes.
All right, Big D with 3.5 wipes from you and 4.25 wipes from me. That gives us an average wipe score of 3.875 wipes for Toy Soldiers.
So, Gene, with a score of 3.87 wipes, that puts us down towards the bottom of the Pantheon of Shat in the 341 spot. It is above Real Genius, Arachnophobia, and Defending Your Life, and slightly below Christmas Story, GoldenEye, and The Last Starfighter.
I think it's about right.
I don't know. All of them in there they're all flawed in their own way, but yeah, I think it's right. This is one of those, you go to the Blockbuster store and limited, all the new releases are out and you grab Arachnophobia, gonna be upset. It's spiders, giant spiders. Here it's Colombian terrorists and entitled kids.
Well, brave Sir Eric, I hope we didn't let you down too much and that you are satisfied with that scoring of Toy Soldiers. If you agree with us or disagree, go to shatpod.com, leave us a voicemail using the SpeakPipe feature. And speaking of which, we got a voicemail this week from a very special friend of the pod that we've been thinking about a lot lately.
Howdy, Shat crew. Tom, Midland, Texas. I was calling in to say I've not left a message for a while because I've been in the hospital for a really long time and I fairly recently just got out. I was in the hospital for several stuff going on and even now I may end up losing my the edge of my toes because of some of the stuff going on. But I was also going to say that that's why I'm not checked in for a while. And also, I was wondering if sometime in October we couldn't do either a normal movie review or a live review for a Halloween movie. And I was wondering if you wanted to pick it out of the 3 movies I have an idea of doing. I thought about doing the They Live movie by John Carpenter or Night of the Langoliers or the 1990 version of Night of the Living Dead with Tony Todd. And I was wondering which one of those we might be able to review in October. So if you would give me thoughts on that, I'd appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great week. And also, I would like to know how soon we might do Best of the Best 3. Okay. I hope you all have a great week. Thank you. Bye.
So, Tom, so much to say. Glad to hear you're out and doing better. I was recently flying over Texas, and I thought of you because middling came up, and I thought how you were doing. And I want you to know that other listeners are thinking of you, Tom. One of our great listeners, Michael M., commissioned 3 movies recently. He did Quick Change, Harry and the Hendersons, and then he established the Tom from Crane, Texas Fund, where he funded a movie for you in the future and hopes that other listeners will support the foundation of Tom that can help our listeners who feel guilty that they want to commission a movie but can't do it financially. So Michael M. commissioned a spot for you. Unfortunately, it can't come up in October, and November are packed, Tom, and our Halloween is already laid out. We have Idle Hands, kicks it off October 14th, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, Ed Wood, Young Frankenstein, Vampire D. Hunter, and then your film, Tom, November 11th, Best of the Best 3, No Turning Back. So let us know what you'd want to do coming for next year. I'd be in for They Live, great one with Roddy Piper, but I'd not be in for Langoliers. No miniseries with those terrible computer-generated time chompers.
I'm probably going to lose all my punk rock cred here, but as much as I've seen references to They Live, I've never seen They Live. Oh. And it is so iconic and so relevant that I would love to do that one soon. But you're right, Big D. October being so packed as it is, I just don't know how we would get that in. But that is so cool. The Tom Fund Foundation. Mm-hmm. What is it? What are we calling it?
Tom Crane Fund Foundation.
Yeah. The Tom Crane Fund Foundation.
What was the one from The Office? What did Michael create? You remember when Michael created?
I have not seen The Office. I don't know. But it is so cool that a fund was set up in Tom's name. That's really fantastic. And Tom, yeah, I hope you get to keep your toes. But hey, man, we'll love you even without him.
Agreed. Let us know if you're cool with They Live, and we'll add it to the schedule for Michael.
All right, Big D, what do we have coming up next week?
Gene, next week we're trading in terrorists and tighty whities for chainmail and chivalry. So I think we should do it right. I think you and I, let's go meet in the basement. We'll get some vodka and some mouthwash bottles. We'll be wearing our tighty whities. You can wear your silkies. And we're going to sit around like the boys in Toy Story. We're going to pleasure ourselves to this incredibly erotic, deep, weird, totally unforgettable film that had my whole generation of young men exploring their bodies and feeling strange feelings and tingles. Whew. And it's not just about the armor, Gene. The magical sword of Excalibur starts off in the hands of a British lord, and then years later it finds its way to the bastard son Arthur. The knave destined to become king, aided by the sorcerer Merlin, Arthur fulfills his fate and brings together the Knights of the Round Table and Camelot to unify the country. However, this flawed monarch faces his greatest test, ahead in pursuit of love, the Holy Grail, and his nation's survival, commissioned by Christian S., and it's for Robert S.'s 60th birthday. So it's a birthday present, but I think this is going to be an erotic conversation, Jim.
I cannot wait to see what all the fuss is about. I know this movie means a lot to you. It's come up almost anytime we've done fantasy, whether it was Lady Hawk or Name of the Rose or Beowulf. Man, this is going to be a monumental film for Shat the Movies.
Now I'm nervous. Wait. I know when you hype up a film, and I'm a little disappointed. I hope you're not disappointed.
I think I'm either going to think it's fantastic or think it's hilarious. I'm excited either way.
I think you'll enjoy it.
Well, thank you, Christian, for the upcoming commission. Thank you, Brave Sir Eric, for commissioning Toy Soldiers. Thank you to all the commissioners who make this podcast possible. That concludes this week's episode of Shat the Movies. Be sure to follow us on social media and share with a friend. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram at Shat the Movies. You can email us, host@shatpod.com. Support the podcast by shopping our Amazon affiliate link, buying our merch, or by commissioning your own movie. Find all the information by visiting our website, shatpod.com. Also, check out our sister podcast, Shat on TV, where we review TV series such as Lovecraft Country, Westworld, True Detective, Taboo, American Gods, Game of Thrones, and Watchmen. Find all our information on our website, shatpod.com/TV, wherever fine podcasts to be found, including Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. And if you stop by Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review. It helps the podcast grow. On behalf of my co-host, Big D, I'm Gene Lyons. Join us next time for the following movie.
The Wizard's Ancient Spell.
Into the eyes of the dragon and the despair.
And the lust of a lord.
I must have her. One night with her.
Give birth to an empire.
Behold the sword of power, Excalibur.
The future has taken root in the present. It is done.
One land, one king!
Orion Pictures presents John Boorman's Excalibur.
Knights of the Round Table, we shall always come together in a circle to hear and tell of deeds good and brave. And I will marry.
Don't you know me, Merlin? Because I'm a creature like you.
Their magic is Merlin.
Are you just a dream? To some.
A nightmare to others.
Their king is Arthur.
You are my husband.
I must be king first.
Their power is Excalibur.
I swear eternal faith to Arthur, king.
Sir Lancelot, you will be my champion.
Which is that? Greatest quality of knighthood.
True.
Where hides evil, then?
Where you never expected.
I protest my innocence.
Were I not king, I would make you pay with your life.
A world of wizards, kings, warriors, queens, swords, sorcery, and desire. Forged of splendor and magic, where future meets past, flesh meets steel, and the only fear is the pain of love. Excalibur, sword of power, sword of kings.